There's lots of people giving advice as to things that we should all do, aren't there? There's people telling us to do this or to do that or to do the other. And sometimes we even give ourselves that advice and we're like, I really want to do this and I really want to do that. And I know that if I do this other thing, then that's going to benefit me. And we've got a very clear idea of that. But the problem often is, how do you start? You know, it's all well and good having this great idea as to how we do this thing, but how do we actually start? And not only do we how do we start, but how do we start again tomorrow? Or the day after that? If it's one of those regular things that we're telling ourselves would be good to do every day. Because then it's not just starting the whole project, it's starting the whole thing. It's starting each version of the thing each day. You know, whether that be exercise or, I don't know, brushing your teeth or whatever it happens to be. Getting out of bed before a particular time, you know. Whatever the thing is that you've decided it would be good for you to do, the question of how do I start and how do I keep starting every day is kind of a difficult one, isn't it? Because often we know the thing, we've already got an idea of the thing that we think would be good for ourselves to do. If only we could actually do it, you know, and keep it going, keep doing it. That's often the difficulty. Now, the idea I'm going to give to you today in this episode is that when we think about doing the thing, one of the things I think that gets in our way is that we think about doing the entire thing, whatever it happens to be, whether it be going on a jog, getting out of bed, brushing our teeth, whatever it happens to be. We tend to think of doing the entire thing. And the idea I'm going to give to you today is the idea of the tipping point. And I want to ask you, what is your tipping point with the things that are a little bit of a struggle for you to do, but you do manage to do them? So I'll give you an example from my life. When I was jogging, and I'm not jogging at the moment, I'm doing other forms of exercise instead. But when I was jogging, what I would always make sure that I did was that I would leave my running gear out, ready, of an evening, so that next morning I could wake up and there it would be, prodding me. Now, my tipping point was not, I was not aiming to go for a jog. What I would aim to do is to get my running gear on, including my training shoes. And once I'd done that, I always went for a run, I noticed. Because what on earth am I meant to do just hanging around in a t-shirt, a pair of shorts and some running shoes? And so once they were on, I always kind of opened the door and went and ran. So I noticed that was my tipping point. I didn't have to aim at the whole thing. I just have to aim at that thing that I noticed. If I got that far, I was going to do the rest. That was kind of my point of no return. And so by the same token, if someone says, right, I'm going to make sure that I get up every morning and I brush my teeth, you don't have to think about brushing your teeth. That doesn't have to be your aim. Just put some toothpaste on the toothbrush. Now, once you're standing there with a toothbrush in your hand that's got some toothpaste on, what are you going to do with it? Well, you probably stick it in your mouth and start brushing. So in that case, that becomes a point of no return. If you're wanting to get out of bed of a morning and you're finding that difficult, well, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you just put a leg out of the bed. And maybe you're just there with your leg out of the bed. And once you've done that, are you really going to stay in bed with the leg out of the bed? or you think, oh, I may as well get up. Now, of course, everyone's point of no return, everyone's tipping point is going to be different for each activity. But when there's something that you want to start, and when there's something that you want to keep going with and turn it into some sort of habit, I think it's often a good idea to aim a little bit lower. Aim to find that tipping point, that centre of gravity, where you go just a little bit beyond and the whole thing tips in your favour. To find out what your point of no return is. So that's what I'm going to leave you with in this episode. The thing that you'd really like to do, rather than doing the whole thing and imagining doing the whole thing in your mind and maybe that puts you off, think instead of what the tipping point would be for that activity and just aim to do that instead. It's a lot easier to reach. And then, once you get there, the rest will follow. I remember when I wanted to clean my bathroom. And of course, I didn't really want to clean my bathroom, but you have to, don't you? You know, it's one of those things that we have to do. I didn't really want to do it. And so I said to myself, I'm not going to clean my bathroom, but I will clean my toilet. Which of course I did, but then when I had a clean toilet, well, you can imagine, I went and cleaned the bathroom. And in fact, once I'd cleaned the bathroom, I got the hoover out and started hoovering around the house. Had I have set myself the task of cleaning the entire bathroom and hoovering around the house, I would never have done it. But the tipping point, the thing that made it easy for me to start, was to just clean the toilet. But once I'd started that, my centre of gravity shifted and it tipped in my favour. So again, starting small is a good idea in my view and in my experience. And from the feedback of the people I work with too, they report that it's a good idea. And so the question for you is, what's your tipping point? What's your point of no return for that thing that you really want to do, but it just feels like, it's kind of difficult and you can't really be bothered to do it? Go a little bit smaller and experiment at finding what your tipping point is. That thing that is so much less than the thing that you're planning to do, but which tips you forward and provides a point of no return where everything you truly want will follow. So if you found this idea useful, then feel free to spread it around. You can also subscribe to this wherever you get your podcast. It's completely free, of course. You can also subscribe on YouTube. Just go to sliceoftherapy.com and all of the previous podcasts are there. And if you'd like to work with me directly, my name is Alun Parry. I'm the director of the Liverpool Psychotherapy practice, which you can find at liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.